No pun intended. Episode 12. We are a mere week away from the candidates, and today we are going into the candidates one by one, who we got to win, who's not going to win. Let's start by plugging our beginner course, Matt. What's going on there?
The beginner move by move course, 30 annotated games, both text form and video format, has now been completed. So if you're on our email list, stay tuned for an email soon about that. But all the videos are now finished.
That is awesome. And it's going for 79 bucks, but we'll give you a promo code if you're on our email list. Check out the links in the description. We'll get you the right promo code. That's been a course that has been anticipated for a while, and I see Presage in the chat. Hi, Presage. Thank you for contributing to the course. I saw we had at least a couple by the last couple days, so it's gonna be good to get some early feedback on it.
Yeah, and I've been going back and forth with a couple of the students that have been taking the early lessons. And the nice thing about the course is you can ask questions on each lesson, and I can go in there and give feedback and answers. So that'll help other beginners as they work through the course as well.
Nice. Yeah, I love it. I think one thing that separates ChessGoals courses from Chessable or other courses is you can go in and ask Matt anything, and he'll get back to you like within a day. So that is awesome. And anyone else can chime in the Discord too if you have questions. So if you buy any of our courses, you are invited to our Discord. And I think there's almost 500 of us in our Discord, which is just crazy. And it's everyone who's a premium member, so we don't open that up to the public. So lots of exciting stuff. Candidates start a week from today. Next week, we're going to be going over round one. But let's get into our candidates tier list.
So we're going to kind of start in reverse order from what people said in our survey. So the survey had, let's see, 42 responses. One of the players had zero picks. Only one of the players had no picks. Can you guys guess who it was in the chat? Which player had zero backers? I was a little surprised by this. Were you surprised at all, Jesse?
I was very surprised, actually. Everyone is voting Abasov.
Mm-hmm.
Incorrect. Abasov got a vote by Mitch. Thank you, Mitch, saying Abasov is going to shock the world. But we are going to start with our zero vote getter, Vidit Gujarati. Shockingly, zero, no respect, can't get any respect. Um, and yeah, like Matt said, we ran a survey. We sent out an email this morning just asking everyone who's going to win. And so we'll kind of go through some of you guys' answers, but we're starting fewest votes to most votes. Vidit, where are you putting him at?
So he recently just lost 20 points in the Prague Masters tournament. I don't know if you saw that. Um, he had one, two, three, four, five, six draws and three losses against players in average rating about his rating, zero wins. Um, hmm, I'm going Dingler in. I don't think Boomer bust, and I don't think Future is bright. I mean, maybe Future is bright, but there's some younger players, the brighter
Yeah,
future.
yeah, I'm with you. I don't see him winning. I don't see him really even having a decent chance at like having a positive score. He's not the youngest guy. He's not really an up and comer. I'm happy for him to that he gets to play in the candidates, but I just don't see him making a splash here. I think he's going to probably take a bunch of draws, maybe a few losses. But yeah, I kind of just don't see it for him. Um, on the same page there. Second from the last, I guess, one vote for Nijat Abasov. Uh, I can't even really pick him out of here. Like I know who he is by process of elimination. Where are you putting Nijat on this list, Matt?
I'm going Dingler in again. I think he's a longer shot than Vidit. Um, Future might be bright, uh, but I wouldn't say any of the ones above that. So I'm going
Yeah,
Dingler in.
yeah, certainly not boomer bust, not on the verge, not chance to win. Future is bright, certainly. I can see an argument for it. but we're going Dingler in. I just don't see him. I think he's gonna clearly finish in last place. Maybe he'll get what's it? 13 rounds? Is that right?
14
14
games.
rounds. So let's see. I bet he'll go 4.5 out of 14. What's your prediction?
Mm, 5.5. I think
Okay.
he'll do okay, but nowhere near 7 out of 14.
All right.
Oh,
Next up. Oh yeah, go for
we
it.
should read some of the comments though for each player. So going back to the Vidit comments, there were none, just for completeness. And Abasov, Mitch said Abasov is going to shock the world. So if Abasov wins, Mitch, we'll have to do some kind of prize for Mitch.
Yeah, we'll give him a free course. Fabusov wins.
Yeah.
All right, next in sixth place for number of votes received. It's actually a tie, but we'll go Gukesh D. I have opinions on Gukesh D. I'll let you go first, Matt.
I'm going future is bright on this one. I think let's see, how old is he? 17 years old, youngest player in the field. Yeah, I'd say future is bright. What do you think?
I'm going boomer bust for Gukesh. I remember, I think it was last year, maybe the year before, he had an insane run in the World Cup. I think he won like 7 or 8 games in a row. So he's a guy who gets a lot of decisive games. I could see him making a run. Of all the youngsters, I think Gukesh actually has the best chance to just run away and win the whole thing. So I think he's certainly the future is bright. I think he's going to be in many candidates. But I think this year I would put him one ahead, boomer bust. So maybe we put him right in the middle. What do you think?
I'll go boomer bust. I think yeah, Daniel agrees with you in the chat. Presta J saying he's going to be the world champ in 2030. But if you look at his record against the other players, he doesn't get a lot of draws proportionally. Like he's 1-1-1 against Caruana. He's actually 1-0-1 against Nepo. No draws against Naka in one game, 1-1-1 against Ferrugia. So he seems to have a lower percentage of draws too. And I think that solidifies that category.
Yeah, I think that is very good in the candidates because there's a lot of decisive games. Playing for wins is obviously a huge advantage, not taking draws because you need to be winning a bunch of games in the candidates.
Yeah.
In order. So it's better to like win and lose some than just take a bunch of draws, in my opinion. And yeah, I agree. 17 with a sick beard, it's totally not fair. Totally not fair. Um, in tied with Gukesh with 3 votes is Alireza Firouzja. Where are you ranking him?
Ooh, this is tough. I mean, I really want to see Ali Reza do well. I don't think on the verge, and I don't think chance to win. Um, I'm just going to say future is bright. I think he needs to focus more on his chess improvement just overall and really want to be a world champion first, but he has the talent to do it.
Yeah, I agree completely. I don't think he's gonna have it this year. He showed a little initiative towards the end of the writing list last year just to like get that last spot, and he performed well, but it just seems like his heart isn't quite in it, and I wonder how much prep he's really doing these days. So I'm gonna go Futures Bright. He's still a young guy. He seems like he's taking a little hiatus from chess. Maybe he's gonna get back into it, push his rating up some more. But yeah, I'm with you. I think Futures Bright. I think it's just a little too early this year for him though. Okay, next up, Pragnananda with 5 votes. Actually, I guess we should read some comments from our previous players. So, Gakesh Bhavik says, picking him because he's my favorite player, lol. But in reality, I do think he's an underdog. Most people think he'll finish 7th, but I feel like Gakesh's potential and raw talent in classical chess is probably the highest among this field. Um, Potentially, yeah. Who knows? He may surprise us, especially because it's 14 rounds of only classical chess. You have a very good point. He's very talented. I think best raw talent is Naka, honestly. If I just had to give one name, Fruja's up there too. But these guys are all obviously very talented. Okay, a couple comments on Faruja. Faruja has had a rough go. This is from Eric. Rough go of the cannon's last round. I feel like he's learned from his mistakes and will have a much better showing. Fabi is a clear favorite and has been playing great, but I feel like the pressure of being the favorite might be too much for him. Okay, good point. Alireza has less pressure, plays for a win every time, and is pretty good at chess. Yeah, he's decent. Alireza has an exciting style of play. Sorry, this is from On Deal. Alireza has an exciting style of play, which is one of the reasons I'm a fan of his. And he, having played at the candidates last time around, I hope will combine that experience with his talent for him to finish as the winner for this time around and kickstart a new era. Yeah, it's kind of seeming like uh, is the old guard gonna stand strong, or are we gonna let in some of these youngsters into like the top ratings? It's like very similar with UFC. Matt and I are UFC junkies, at least I am. And I love seeing these fights. Like last week, it was Poirier versus BSD, like the young BSD up and comer versus Poirier, who's been in the top five for like years and years. And Poirier got the job done, baby. Big fan
Or
of
the
what's
Rose
that?
fight. Don't forget the GOAT.
Yeah, yeah, Rose too. Oh man. Okay.
Um, going
And
going back to your natural talent point, I think blitz chess is a good way to identify who has a lot of natural talent. Ali Reza might be number two on this list after Hikaru in terms of raw talent.
yeah, it's very true. And I think last on this list might be Fabi, honestly. Like
Yeah.
his if you think of like systems one and two, like his I forget which one is which, but like Fabi's calculation, like slow system is probably the best on this list, but his system one I think is like instinctual, may not quite be nearly as good. Just my opinion.
You loaned me that book,
Yeah.
Thinking Fast and Slow.
Yeah. That is a non-chess book, but it got me into chess initially because he uses chess examples all over the place, and the whole thing just kind of fascinated me. All right, next up, Pragnananda. He got one, two, three, four, five votes, so two more than both Gukesh and Alireza. Um, it's going to be him, no doubt, says Alex. And I think a young Indian is due a big breakthrough. I just hope it isn't Hikaru. Some other maybe not so nice comments. His arrogance in live stream, especially against mid-range online players during rating climbs, really is off-putting and bad for the game. Interesting. I actually find those videos really instructive. That is from Christopher. Okay, so Prague, where are you putting him at?
Mm, I feel like he's got a lot of draws in his games. I'm looking at some of the head-to-head matches. I'm going to say future is bright.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think it's too early for Prague. I don't think he's quite there as far as like a super elite player where he's going to go through and just win the candidates. I kind of don't see it. I just really don't see it. So we we will see. I agree with you though. Future is bright.
Um,
Next up with six vote. Anything else you want to say about any of these guys?
well, Presta J is saying on the verge for Prague. And I could kind of see that. If he wasn't future is bright, maybe on the verge, but I also kind of base my answers on who we have left. And we got the three big guns coming up, and I don't think Prague is as strong as any of them.
Yeah, I think in any like if Prague is going to play a world championship match against one of the like Fabi Naka, like I just think Prague does really bad. Like I don't see Prague lasting 14 games. Like it'd be like a Jan versus Magnus situation. But I've been wrong before. I just think it's a little too early. Like next candidates, a lot of these names are going to be up like a whole tier or maybe two.
Okay, we have two people now, though, saying on the verge. Let's pull the chat quick. If you think on the verge, put the letter V for verge. And if you think future is bright, put B for bright.
We can run an official poll, guys.
Oh, thank you. Okay, do the official poll now, even if you put a letter in the chat. I'm
We're
going
not
bright.
so
I'm
we're
voting
not
in this thing.
not so namby-pamby. We can run a real poll. Okay, it looks like Bright is edging slightly, 60-40. Okay, now two-thirds saying Bright.
67-33.
Split the difference for boom and bust. Yeah, maybe that's the play. Um, I don't know. I kind of don't think he's boom or bust though. I don't think it's either going to be like he goes 11 out of 14 or he goes 4 out of 14. Like I think he's probably good for 8 plus or minus 1. Like 7 to 9. Like that's kind of like where I feel. All right, final results of the poll. I'm ending it 2/3 say future is bright, 1/3 say on the verge. Thanks for your input,
Close.
everybody.
Yeah,
All right,
close.
in third place with 6 votes is American Hikaru Nakamura. I think it's either Fabi or Hikaru, says Ilya. So I have thought hard about the subject and predict a rather easy run for Naka. It starts in round one with a dominant performance against Fabi. Yes, they are paired in round one. Um, where are you going with Naka, Matt?
I think the other two have a better chance of winning than Naka. I'm going to put him on the verge. I think he's super strong, and I would not be shocked at all if Naka won it. But I think where he's lacking is that like real deep focus on classical chess. He's a full-time streamer. And I think in a candidates tournament, he hasn't quite shown that he can win one. And look at the other two guys we got here.
Yeah, and I see a comment, Daniel. He played the best chance for months over everyone, including Magnus. He had the best chess. I think a little regression is personally in store. He's obviously a phenomenal player. He's probably number two on my list for chance to win. So we'll see. Like we've been saying, it would not shock me at all if Naka wins. I would actually love it if Naka wins. I think that'd be great for chess. I just don't think he's the strongest player in the field. That's all I'm saying.
I mean, that would be massive for chess if he won. I agree with you.
Oh yeah, that'd be awesome. All right, tied with Naka for second place is Jan Nepomniachtchi. Aditya says he's done it 2 times in a row, so why not? Exactly what I'm thinking. Rajdeep says Naka will do a three-peat. Yeah, I can totally see it. Where are you ranking him?
Chance to win.
Yeah, for sure, chance to win. I think so too. He seems to save his best for the candidates and gets out to a good start. He's also a guy who plays for wins. He is not afraid to really push in the end games. He also really pressures his opponents on the clock, which can also come back to bite him. But he plays aggressive chess, plays for wins. I definitely think he can do it again.
I think the one thing kind of going against him is, well, Matt Presta J and I were talking about this a little bit earlier today. Current ratings are really strong predictors of how well players will do in the candidates. And Nepo is on a bit of a hard streak. He's only 27.58. He's seventh in the world. Whereas the last couple times he was a clear number two or three. It was always like Magnus, Dingler, and Nepo. So it's hard to say if he's in form compared to, let's say, Fabiano or Hikaru.
Yeah, I think a lot of this is going to come down to who's just playing well that week. Um, for sure. But yeah, Nepo has for sure done it a few times. I think him losing the world championship match, especially last time, is really gonna make him hungry to be the world champ. And I think he's got it in him, honestly. And first place, guess who? There's only one guy left, but Fabi kind of ran away with the poll. He has 21 votes, so almost half the votes. I think we had like 45 total, maybe 44, and
Yeah.
Fabi took 21. Um, but where are we putting him? Chance to win?
Yeah, he had 49% of the vote. Chance to win.
Wow,
And I think even ahead of Nepo, if we're doing a tiebreaker, I'd put him ahead of Nepo.
ahead of Nepo. Yeah, I agree. So maybe we'll slide him over here.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, I agree. I think Fabi is a clear favorite. We have the odds up here somewhere, but maybe we should read some of the comments. So some guy named Matt Jensen said test, testing the Google form. Okay.
Yeah.
Barack says that was the safest bet. John says Fabi had such a great year last year. Seems poised to claim this one. Agree. Stiffest competition will be Hikaru, who also had a great year. Yep. Seems strange that Nepo feels like he's on the outside looking in, given he's won two of the last two of these, but Fabi and Hikaru feel too strong. Yeah, Hikaru's surge lately is very cool to see. Very fun. Um, Mush Fakur says World Championship without Magnus is a wash tournament. Okay, I can't argue. Um, uh, Heaven says Caruana wins with 8.5 out of 14. Okay, and he gives his final rank. So number one, Fabi, two, Ali Reza, three, Hikaru, four, Prague, five, Jan, six, Vidit, then Gukesh in seventh, and Najat in eighth. What do you think
Pretty
it's going to
good.
take to win, Matt? How many points?
I'd say 8.5 or 9.
Yeah, I was going to say nine. 8.5 seems not quite enough. That's only plus three in 14 rounds.
Yeah, might probably 9 would be good.
Yeah, maybe nine, 9.5 if a couple people are really running away with it. Steve says, if not now, when for Fabi? Arjun
True.
says, I think Fabi has a chance to win this time. Even Ali Reza Faruja has a chance. And Hikaru Yan might win again and challenge Ding. Yep.
Arjun picked half the field right there in his comment.
Yeah. Caruana, this is from Daniel. Caruana, different Daniel than one in the chat. Caruana is coming into the tournament in top form, and I think he is the favorite. He will take it to the wire with Nepo and will ultimately succeed. This is like foreshadowing. It's a prophecy. Gakesh and Prague will have good showings, but I predict Ali Reza will surprise some people with how well he performs. I think the underperformer will be Nakamura. He's had an incredible showing in the 2023 circuit, but will come crashing back to earth after overreaching in too many games, ultimately finishing middle of the pack. Vidin and Abasov will be at the bottom. I kind of get what he's saying on Naka. Like he's had a very good result, but it almost seems like he's due for a bit of regression. I know I've kind of been saying that. Okay, so pairings also favor Nakamura. People don't go for blood in round one while feeling out prep. His black game against Fabi's round one. Oh yeah, so that is actually a great point. Having black versus Fabi in round one is actually a pretty big advantage because you do not, or sorry, having black against Caruana is what you want. And that being in round one, it seems like it's more likely for him to secure a draw. That's actually a really good point.
Yeah.
And yeah, and a lot of times in the candidates, they pair people up from the same country in the early round, so they're not like awkwardly battling each other in the final rounds. Okay, so we have pairings in. Okay, we had pairings. We'll get back to that in a
Add
second.
him back, Presta J. We could read it.
Yeah. Okay, I can read a couple more people's comments here. It says maybe Hikaru will break out, says Dennis, but he picked Fabi. Ooh, another vote for Hikaru just came in. Sorry, too late, Chuck. Um, I love Fabi, so he's my pick, but if Prague wins, I'll be equally happy. From Adam. And John says Fabi is a clear favorite, probably a 40 to 50% chance. I'm taking the under there. Ding has a better chance, though, as Ding encounters have been closer to equal than other players. Hikaru has a good chance. He's obviously taking this serious as he didn't play America's Cup due to prep for the candidates. He probably sees this as last chance to make a go at the World Championship. Yep. Ding really struggles against Hikaru, so I think Hikaru would take it. Nepo and Fabi get bonus points because they know what it takes to get the title match. Nepo may struggle with nerves given his last result. Fabi played like a boss last time, so no reason to think he would have an issue. Yeah, good insights from. We have a smart following, Matt. That's all kinds of really good insights. Thank you, everybody.
Yeah, thank you everyone who took the poll. I see Presta J put the first round pairings. Bobby White against Naka. Abasov White against Nepo. Ali Reza White against Prague. And Gukesh White against Vidit. That brings up a question in my mind. So Abasov is the lowest rated player by a pretty big margin. You have to assume players are going for wins against him with the white pieces. Would you also assume that they're playing for wins against him with the black pieces, or it'll just sort of depend on tournament situation? Because playing for a win is going to be tough with black, even against Abasov.
Yeah, I think if I had to guess, I bet Nepo will play something slow, but not immediately force a draw. Like I'm sure Abasov would be happy just taking a draw. I don't think Nepo's going to allow a quick draw. I think he's going to feel him out and try to start strike early because that has been his strategy the last couple candidates is he got a very early lead and everyone was trying to catch up and he just kind of everyone was trying to beat him too, and he was playing very like calm chess and just waiting for people to blunder, and that really worked for him. So I think he wants to get that early lead.
Yeah, that
Um,
makes sense. It's a lot of pressure on the field, especially when you're up by more than one game. If you're plus three and the next player is plus one, that's a ton of pressure for them to try to slow you down.
yeah, yeah, for sure. And then everyone else is playing a bit more crazy because they need to win. Like it doesn't matter
Yeah.
if they lose another game if they're going to come in second place anyway. Okay, another one I'm looking at is Gukesh versus Vidit. I wonder if Gukesh is going to push really hard for a win there. Maybe thinking, I mean, Vidit's in Ding Liren category, so
I mean, yeah, there's a good chance. And he just had that terrible tournament at Prague. That's possible. Should we talk about the odds a little bit, the betting odds?
yeah, sure. Let's take a look at the odds. Um,
And these betting odds are based on if you bet $100, how much would you win if the selected player wins? So if the odds are, let's say, plus 10,000, which is Abasov, you would get $10,000 plus your $100 back if you bet on him winning. So that's like playing the Powerball pretty much.
Yeah, you can always try it, but I don't think Abasov's gonna win. And they must have updated these because I remember different numbers before.
Okay.
So last place is Abasov plus 10,000. So you bet $100 on Abasov to win. He wins the whole thing. You take home 10 grand.
Ooh,
Second to last is Vidit plus 1,400. If it's me, I'm not taking either of these guys because I think their odds are even worse than that. I would not bet on those. Um, Sixth place is Gakesh D at plus 100. Or no,
1,000.
no, plus 1,000. Sorry, plus 1,000. So bet $100, you take home 1,000 if he wins it. That still seems like a bit of a stretch to me. I don't see it.
I wouldn't pick either of these three at those odds. Any of these three.
Um, Fifth place is Prague at plus 800. I'm not
Ooh,
taking Prague at plus 800.
8 to 1. Probably not, but I'd consider it. I'd consider that one. Boomer
What about
bust.
what about plus 500 for Prague?
No, I would want more for my money.
So what's the line for Prague? What would you bet on him?
1,000.
Oh, right. Yeah, I was going the wrong way. So if he's plus 1,000, you'd bet on him 10 to 1?
Hmm.
Okay. So sorry, I did the math backwards in
I
my
know,
head
that's why I
because
was
I
like,
offered
I'm
you
not
worse
betting
odds.
on him for 500.
You're like, what the
This is
heck
some
kind of
shady bookie business here.
Hmm. Okay, in fourth place is Fallujah plus 600. Are you betting Fallujah plus 600?
I have trouble betting for Ruja, even if he was like plus 1,000. I'm saying no.
Yeah, I mean, I could see him winning, but not really. Plus 600, I don't think I bet plus 600.
I mean, so plus 600 means 6 to 1. That essentially means you think he's in the top half of the field. Yeah, maybe fourth. I mean, that's probably about where he should be, but I just wouldn't put my money on him.
Yeah. And then the top three, Fabi, Hikaru, and not, or sorry, Farby, Fabi, Hikaru, Jan. My best pick here would be Jan at plus 500. Like I don't know. I think that's where the money is, honestly.
I agree. I would put money on Jan at 500, and I'd probably even consider putting money on Hikaru at 400. Those both seem like, I think the top three are closer than people think. Obviously, half our fans said Fabiano, and the odds are showing Fabiano a huge favorite, but I think Hikaru and Nepo are closer than what the betting lines show.
Yeah, I agree. I think Fabi, Naka, and Jan, any of them, it's going to come down to just who gets a quicker start and can just use that momentum. And then yeah, on top is Fabi at plus 150. I wouldn't mind that bet, honestly. Bet $100 and you win 150. So you would, I don't know, take home an extra 150
I don't know.
bucks. But
It only takes like just being a little off, low on sleep, a little sick, just
mm,
having a bad tournament. In addition to someone like Nepo just going on a crazy run. I think it's too many players to bet on anyone at plus 150. Like, even if when you see Magnus with those sort of odds in a round robin,
yeah.
even those, I'm like, yeah, it's close. Like Magnus at 150, I think would be fair, but Fabi at 150 with this field, I don't know. I feel like that's going to be a really tough grind.
That's a good point because you think like he's in, it can come down to just a couple end games. Like he's holding a drawn end game and then he just like lets it slip and loses. Like that's half a point. Like
Yeah.
maybe he is pushing for a win and settles for a draw. Like that's the whole tournament right there. It can just be kind of, I don't want to say luck, but it's just like how those end games kind of play out. Sometimes you feel like you're winning and it just doesn't click. So yeah, that's tough. Yeah. Plus 150. Yeah, I don't know. That's hard. It's hard to bet on anyone.
Well, now let's talk about the bookkeeper who's accepting bets, Presta J. He has run some Monte Carlo simulations. From my understanding, these are based on current ratings plus performance ratings in 2023. So it's a combination of current ratings, but also factoring in who's been hot in the last year.
Okay,
Um,
so like little bit of a recency bias built in. I like it.
yeah, and there's pretty much three tiers. There's Abasov, who he puts at 0.2%, um, which is kind of close to 1,000 to 1, actually. That's like, what, 0.1% or something?
Yeah.
And then we have another tier where he's got Vidit, Jan, Prague, Ali Reza, and Gukesh D all between 8 and 10%. So just a clear tier number two. And then his tier one, he's got Hikaru at 26% and Fabiano at 27%. So if you want to place your bets in the chat, let Presta J know how much money, where to wire the winnings, and he will happily take your bets.
So the money lines here, based on J simulations, you would bet on Vidit, and Gukesh, but you would for sure stay away from Jan. Jan's only at 9%, but he's only plus 500.
Maybe
Um,
Hikaru, because Hikaru
y-
is like 5 to 1, four
yeah,
to one.
Hikaru's close. So yeah, he'd be, I think, 4 to 1, but and he's 26%. So
That's the hard thing with these odds is because it's not, let's say, an NFL game or something. If you add up the implied percentages, the house is making bank on these chess odds because I think there's just not enough people betting on it so they can do it. Um, so yeah, I think we should really be safe with our money on these lines.
yeah, and I don't even know if you can gamble on these. These are just like lines. But if you have disposable income and you don't need help, then go for it. Throw a
Right.
few bucks on it. Um, that is our candidates coverage. Thank you everyone for everyone who responded to the email. Whenever we send these, we either get one response or 50. So I'm so glad we got a bunch of responses and to hear everyone's takes on it. Sounds like a consensus that Fabi is a favorite, and I agree, but I don't think he's that big of a favorite because things can go wrong pretty quickly in the candidates. Also, we have been knocking Faruja because we're not so sure of his, intentions to play. Fabi has not been holed up in a cave studying chess for the last couple of years either. He's got a podcast. He's doing more showings. He's doing like the freestyle goat chess events. So I don't know how super committed he is. I still think this is like a huge chance for him, and he's going to really go for it. So we'll see. We'll see. Anything to add?
I think you got to look at the current live ratings as kind of the ultimate predictor. Fabiano is a clear number two to Magnus at 2803, and he's separated himself by 14 points over the next player, which is Hikaru. And then after that, it's a pretty big drop to Faruja. Bobby has a 43-point lead over Faruja. So live ratings, I think that kind of matches up with the betting odds and what the chess goals students are saying.
Yeah. Yeah, makes sense. So I am so excited for this tournament. I feel like I have been eagerly awaiting it since 2024 started because I'm like, I know there's a cycle this year. Question for you. Has anyone done less with the World Championship title than Ding?
I don't think so. Yeah, I can't think of a player. I mean, you look at the past world champions and they're all very famous and getting their names out there. Magnus, Anand, Karamnik. Yeah.
Who? Never heard of. I mean, I think Ding's the only one to become world champion and like lose Twitter followers. Like the only one who's like less well known after becoming world champion. He just went into a cave and hid and didn't do anything. Um,
Yeah,
yeah, I feel
less
bad for him. I hope he's doing okay mentally, physically.
less social
Um,
media than Max U.
who's Max EU? Is this a joke?
Look in the chat.
Is he a former world champ?
Yeah, I don't know what years though. A long time ago. 1935 to 1937.
Classic.
Yeah. I mean, that guy wasn't on Twitter. Um,
Yeah, why the heck not, Max? Gotta get on Twitter.
yeah.
There was something else I was gonna say, but I forgot. It
We're going to talk about plug in a couple things. Merch.
wasn't.
Oh, rating comparisons are updated if you guys haven't seen those.
Oh yeah, you should plug that.
So that was a 2024 update. Includes the FIDE rating boost that they just did. So chessgoals.com/rating minus comparison.
Yeah, we'll link that in the show notes too. That's kind of our our main post that people know us by. That's when the whole chess goals thing started. It's back in rating comparison days. And
Yeah.
we still have like 16,000 people who signed up to volunteer their ratings for us. And I just ran all the data. Well, I mean, it's probably just a couple of weeks ago. So that's always a fun project to run.
Until they rate limit you.
Yeah. But they did. We got her done though. At one point, I was locked out of all of Lee Chess profiles for like 24 hours. So like, stop. You're doing this too much. Uh, but we're all good. Um, all right. Anything else to cover?
We'll chat for a little bit after we end this podcast, just so people know you don't have to drop off right away.
Yep, and if you want podcast bonus content, you can subscribe to our YouTube channel. That helps us out a lot. And if you are listening on Spotify or iTunes, ratings and reviews, follows helps a ton. And we're very grateful for our podcast growth. We want to keep putting chess in the ears of everybody. If you want to share this great game, give us a review so people can have chess in their ears. We have candidates coming up next week. We'll be reviewing round one, see what happens with Naka and Fabi, and we will see you next time. Bye, everyone.